Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Education and Health. Today we have 43 bills on our docket. I'm going to start by reminding everyone how we operate today. But before I do that, I'd like to announce the newest member of the committee, and I'd like for him to introduce himself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeremy McPike, 29th District, representing Manassas Park, and Prince William. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And George Mason. And George Mason.
Welcome to the Senate Committee on Education and Health. Now I'm going to start by reminding everybody how we will operate today. First, we will address two bills that will be directly re-referred to other committees. Next, each of our subcommittee chairs will give a report. Members, on your desk are packets containing the substitutes and amendments adopted by each subcommittee. Every bill that went through a subcommittee had the opportunity for public testimony and will not hear additional public testimony. We will only hear from patrons on these bills if it is necessary. If your bill received a unanimous positive recommendation from a subcommittee, you do not need to stay here. We will call you if your bill hits a roadblock. It means like if it gets in trouble, okay? Okay, we're going to start with the subcommittee reports. And I have them here in order. Okay, we're going to be referred to the top first. Bills for re-referral, Senate Resolution 87. Patron, Senator Chase, re-referred to rules. It is moved and properly second that Senate Resolution 87, Senator Locke, will be re-referred to the Committee on Rules. All in favor of the motion, please. Clerk, do we need to vote aye or just
Yes, ma'am.
all vote aye or nay?
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill will be re-referred to the Committee on Rules. The second bill to be recommended for referral is Senate Bill 1529, Patriot Senator Donovan. And that's the, well, we know what it is. Can I get a motion? It has been moved and second that the bill be re-referred to Finance. All in favor of that motion, please designate aye. If not, nay.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill will be referred to Senate Committee on Finance. And now we're going to start with the bills from the health profession, and we will start with Senator Barker. And Senator Barker, your first bill, of course, it appears is going to be going to Finance.
All right, the bills from health professions. We met last Friday and dealt with these bills, made recommendations to the full committee here. We start with Senate Bill 930. Patron is Senator Hashmi. This deals with the end-of-life decision-making. The motion that was adopted was to pass by indefinitely, and on a 5-4 vote, there was a small amendment that made prior to that, and that was incorporated in what we were voting on. So with that, I'll make a motion to pass it by indefinitely.
It's been moved and second that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, please vote yes, and otherwise vote no.
Ayes 9, noes 5.
Ayes 9, noes 5. The bill is passed by indefinitely. Senator Barker.
All right, the next bill is Senate Bill 970. It's from Senator Mason, is the patron. It's the Department of Health Professions, and what this is dealing with is applications for licensure, certification, and registration in mental health conditions. And this was recommended for reporting on a 9-0 vote, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, vote yes. If not, vote nay.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no zero, the bill is reported. Senator Barker.
All right, we had three bills dealing with abortion. The three bills, they were not similar. There were actually significant differences among the three bills that were there.
Excuse me, could you please speak up?
All
Your
right.
voice is not carrying.
All right, is that a little better? Okay. All right, I feel like I'm swallowing the microphone, but that's all right. Anyway, Senate Bill 1284 was Senator Hackworth, and it was, motion was adopted to pass it by indefinitely on a 6-3 vote. And I will make that motion to pass it by indefinitely. This one is basically eliminating abortion as a procedure.
Was that a motion?
Yes, the motion is to pass by indefinitely.
I didn't hear the second. The motion is to pass by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, please designate on the board, yes or nay.
Ayes 9, noes 5.
Ayes 9, noes 5, the bill is passed by indefinitely. Senator Barker.
All right, thank you. Next one is Senate Bill 1385. Senator Newman is the patron of that. He went through, and this was mostly targeted at 15 weeks as the time when there would be differential, things would be different from, it was not, at 15 weeks that there would be some limitations on abortions. It would allow abortions up to 15 weeks and then had provisions for those that would be potentially performed after 15 weeks. This was also passed by indefinitely on a 6-3 vote, and I make the motion to pass by indefinitely.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically, yes or no.
Ayes 9, noes 5.
Ayes 9, noes 5, the bill is passed by indefinitely.
All right.
Senator
And
Barker.
the other one was Senate Bill 1483. Senator Donovan was the patron of that. And this dealt largely with abortions in situations when there's not a non-viable pregnancy. And this was passed by indefinitely on a 5-4 vote. And I make the motion to pass it by indefinitely.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 9, noes 5.
Ayes 9, noes 5, the bill is passed by indefinitely. Senator Barker.
All right. Wait a second here.
If he did, he'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I missed one page. Page 2, so.
I thought maybe there was a method to it, but
Okay, next, we have two more bills, Senate Bill 1006, Senator D. Steff. It dealt with the licensure and practice of a category called an associate physician, and it was passed by indefinitely with a letter from the chair to the Department of Health Professions to have it be studied during the year. And this motion passed on a 9-0 vote, and so I would move that we pass it by indefinitely with a letter being sent from the chair of the committee to the Department of Health Professions for studying during the year.
you've heard the motion? And it's second. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill is passed by indefinitely. Senator Barker.
And then the other one that we had was Senate Bill 1084. The patron is Senator Bell, and he asked to have this stricken, so I make a motion to strike the bill.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be stricken. All in favor of that motion, just say aye or no.
I'm sorry,
You want us to vote
Yes, ma'am.
electronically? Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill is stricken.
And
Senator
I
Barker?
believe that completes the report.
Well, Senator Barker, I want to thank you for that report. You had some heavy bills, and we do appreciate it very much.
Certainly.
Next report will be coming from our new chair of Health, and that is Senator Peterson.
All righty, thank you, Madam Chair. This is from the Health Subcommittee. We met on Tuesday evening and ran through a few bills, and I'll report on them. First one was Senate Bill 808, which was patroned by Senator Favola. And actually, that was rolled into Senate Bill 1302. Senator Deeds is carrying his Senate Bill 1302. Do I need to get a recorded vote on the roll-in? Okay, so I move that Senate Bill 808 be moved into Senate Bill 1302.
It's been moved and seconded that the bills be rolled together. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yes or no.
All right. Okay, I don't think anyone's sticking around for the subcommittee report.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bills are
I'm
incorporated.
losing my audience. All right. This bill had to do with a temporary detention in hospitals for someone that was intoxicated and basically getting a TDO order for someone who is designated as intoxicated, and the process that the hospitals would go through in order to accomplish that. I think it really deals with the manpower issues that we have carrying out our TDO orders with sheriff's office and local police, and so it just basically gives a method for hospitals to get that TDO issued and get it enforced. And our subcommittee endorsed the Deeds bill on a 5-0 vote, and I so move.
It's been moved and probably second that the report with the substitute,
Yeah, report the substitute.
that we report the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yes or no.
Chair,
Senator Newman?
I'm just confused. Are we dealing with the Deeds bill or my bill?
We rolled Favola into Deeds. This is the
I
Deeds bill,
think the board has
1302.
just got the wrong.
Oh, hold on, we got the wrong one on the board.
Yeah,
We should be voting on 1302.
right. Oh, thank you very much. That helps.
All right, we'll get to you in a second, Steve.
Okay, we're waiting for the board to,
It's correct.
it is correct.
So just for the scorecard, 808 was rolled into 1302, which we just did, and now 1302 needs to a vote to report. Yeah.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no 0. The substitute is reported. Thank you. Senator Peterson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Next bill is Senate Bill 872 from Senator Newman, and this dealt with transportation when someone's under an ECO, emergency custody order, or TDO, and it allows basically transportation providers to have to be designated to take people in those situations, and also to have some degree of restraint, or allow them to use some degree of restraint. And just put some parameters on the code, in that respect. So it was our recommendation of the subcommittee to report 5-0. With the substitute, I'm sorry, I move that we adopt substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Aye.
Or just say aye. Yes. Substitute is adopted.
Okay, and then I would move a report to substitute.
There's a motion, and Senator Howell.
I believe needs to go to finance.
Okay, move that we report to substitute and refer to finance.
It has been moved and probably second that the bill be reported and referred to Senate Finance upon request of the Finance Chair. All in favor, please say yea or nay. He needs to stay in his chair.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill, it will be reported and re-referred with the substitute to Senate Finance. And I want to pause here for a second. I got a note on my iPhone that says, we know who you are, but by looking at you, but everybody doesn't. I think I forgot to call the roll. Did I?
You did, yeah. I considered the first vote a roll call.
I love it, Opie.
Thank you. No, so I think everybody knows who we are up here. Okay. Next bill, Senator
Okay,
Peterson.
thank you. The next bill was your bill, Madam Chair, Senate Bill 1177, and we rolled that into Senate Bill 1544, carried by Senator Rouse, and I so move.
It's been moved and properly second that the bill be incorporated. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically. Senator Peterson?
Yes, ma'am.
That's 14-0.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 1544, which is the consolidated bill, had to do with reporting incidents at homes that are licensed by DBHDS, or Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, and whether or not that has to happen within 20, right now it's within 24 hours, and a lot of the vendors and providers are asking that to be within the next business day. And we had some discussion at the subcommittee level whether or not this was compliant with federal law and our federal settlements having to do with our group homes. And basically, we are asking DBHDS to study that issue and come back to us with a report. I think I've stated that accurately.
I think you did, Senator
And
Peterson.
so we have a substitute we need to adopt. So I move that we adopt the substitute.
You've heard the motion on the substitute. Do I get a second? It's been moved and properly second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Senator
with the
Peterson.
substitute in front of us, I move we report the bill.
Chairman, it's on the list that needs to go to finance.
Okay, this is just a study at this point, or not even a study, it's just, okay. I move that we report and refer to finance.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported and be referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and be referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. Senator Peterson?
Yes, ma'am. Next bill on Senate Bill 1439, carried by Senator Locke, and this has to do with inmates in our correctional system that become pregnant, and basically allowing them to enroll in, I guess what we used to call, is it still CHIPS, or what's the name of the Medicaid-assisted program? Yeah, basically enroll with DMAS, and just allow them to get that process started, so if they're discharged or take a leave, that they can be incorporated into our DMAS system. So it was the decision of the subcommittee to report that on a 5-0 vote, and I so move. We don't have a substitute, do we?
Mr. Chair, there is a substitute.
Okay, I move the substitute.
You heard the motion, substitute to adopt the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate it electronically.
You can just.
No, a voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the,
Nays have same right. Don't hear any.
so the substitute's in front of us, and I move we report the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Peterson?
Okay, the last one is Senate Bill 1457. I got to be honest, this one's a little bit complex. And first, let me get the substitute in front of us. I move we adopt the substitute.
You hear the motion? It's been moved and second that the substitute be adopted. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays have the same right. Senator Peterson?
Okay, this is about enrolling somebody in Medicaid when they've already been admitted to a nursing home. And basically, it would not be retroactive, but would allow them to be enrolled in Medicaid even after they've already been admitted to a nursing home, did not report as Medicaid, but allows their pre-screening to take place effectively once they're already in the facility. And we heard from all the institutional positions. DMAS testified they weren't opposed to it. I don't think there was opposition from nursing homes. And this is a very highly technical issue. I'm probably skipping some key points here, but the bottom line was we heard the bill. We felt like it was a consumer-friendly bill, allowing as many people get picked up in Medicaid that should legitimately be in Medicaid, and therefore we moved to report it on a 5-0 vote.
And the Chair of Senate Finance and Appropriation has requested that bill be referred to Finance.
So I would move that we report the bill and refer it to Senate Finance.
You've heard the motion. And a second. Senator Howell, did you want to speak? Okay. You've heard the motion and the second that the bill be reported and referred to Senate Finance with a substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate it electronically, yes or no.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and be referred to Senate Finance with a substitute. Senator Peterson,
Ma'am, I think that's all I got.
you did a great job, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I lost my audience a bit, but that's okay.
They were only here for the first block.
Yeah, I noticed. Okay.
Thank you. The next report will be coming from the Public Education Subcommittee, and that will be Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the first bill that we have to report is SB 823 from Senator Chase. And this would establish a parental choice education savings account permitting parents of a public preschool, elementary, or secondary school student to apply to the school division in which the student resides for a one-year renewable parental choice education savings account. We heard quite a bit of testimony on this particular bill. We heard from the Family Foundation who opposed it, as well as a couple of community members. Most of the testimony came in opposition from our education advocates and education organizations, outlining the fact that this particular plan would really divert money away from public education and impose a great deal of struggle on schools that are already facing many challenges, as we well know. The recommendation that came out of the committee was to pass this bill by indefinitely on a vote of 3 yes to 1 no, and I so move.
You've heard the motion? And a second, that the bill be passed by indefinitely. That's Senate Bill 823. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6. The bill will be passed by indefinitely. Senator Hashmi?
Madam Chair, the next bill is SB 856. This was reported with amendments out of committee with the reported with amendments out of committee with the understanding that the patron senator would continue to work with key stakeholders. There was not consensus or full agreement around this particular legislation, and I received a note this morning from the patron asking that SB 856 be passed by indefinitely with a letter to the Health Commission to look at a plan for school divisions to address mental health for all students. And on the basis of the patron's request, I so move that we PBI the bill with a letter to the Health Commission.
It's been moved and second that the bill be passed by indefinitely. That's Senate Bill 856. Having heard the motion and the second, please vote electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be passed by indefinitely with a letter from the chair. Senator Hashmi?
Madam Chair, the next bill is SB 890. This is my bill, and it is to establish a veterans teaching licensure support fund and program for the purpose of supporting veterans and service members who wish to teach in our schools, public schools, and pursue a career in education. This would establish a fund that awards grants to eligible veterans and service members to reimburse them for their professional studies tuition expenses. This has the support of the Military Veterans Caucus as well as many other stakeholders. We passed this bill. We recommended reporting on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
Been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor of the motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Madam Chair, I'm just checking if this bill needs to, I apologize.
Yes, it needs to go to
finance. So I recommend reporting and re-referral to finance.
Let's change the board. Got it. Okay. It's been moved and properly second that the bill be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance. All in favor of the motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes
And we-
15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance. Senator Hashmi, you have a second bill?
Madam Chair, SB 935, again, yes, this is my bill, and it is to establish a teacher licensure website and application portal. At present, we do have many, many materials on our VDOE site, but it is a kind of a convoluted process to make the necessary materials accessible and the application process electronic. And so by establishing this website or this portal, we can streamline the process. This was a recommendation that came out of the study that was done in 2020, and it is a way to encourage people to continue the process of achieving their teaching licenses, as well as continuing their professional education credit hours and keeping track of those effectively. This reported out of committee on a vote of 4-0. I recommend that we report and re-refer to finance.
Motion? And a second that the bill be reported and be referred to Senate Finance. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and referred to Senate Finance. Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, SB 1007 is again my bill, and I move that we strike the bill from our consideration.
It's been moved and properly second that the bill be stricken at the request of the patron. And I think we do need an electronic vote. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be stricken at the request of the patron. Senator Hashmi?
Madam Chair, SB 1043 has a substitute, and that is in front of you. I move the substitute.
It's been moved and properly second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Senator Hashmi?
This bill also is incorporating Senator Favola's bills that are you will find in your packet later. That is SB 1257 and SB 1258. Both of the patrons have agreed to incorporate the bills, and so we are essentially voting on Senator Favola's bills as well. This bill is concerning student mental health and counseling. It requires VDOE in consultation with our Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to develop, adopt, and distribute to each school a model memorandum of understanding between the school board and a public or private community mental health services provider that sets forth parameters for the provision of effective mental health services to all of our students. This bill reported with the substitute. Reported with the substitute on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, SB 1072 is patroned by Senator Bell, and this is concerning the issues of bullying within our public schools. We heard a very, very tragic story, and it's a story I think that all parents understand, and certainly it's not the only story that we've heard about in similar situations in Virginia. The parents who spoke to this bill and who had requested the patron bring this bill to us pointed to the fact that they tragically lost their child whose birthday is coming up in just a few weeks. It's a one-year anniversary. Lost their child to suicide because of bullying incidences that were continuing in the school, and they were not notified. in a timely manner in order to help their son and to prevent the tragedy that occurred. So the bill would require every public school to notify the parent of any student in a bullying incident within 24 hours so that parents can take appropriate action. We recommend for reporting on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
Been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate it electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero, the bill will be reported.
Madam Chair, SB 1097, patron by Senator Normand.
Senator Norman has a request that
Yes.
that all of his bills go back for the day.
I was just about to say that.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Normand has requested that we go.
Senator Newman?
Madam Chair, I don't know if that includes 1097. I think it's just one in your,
That are in yourself, okay. I just got a note that says pass by all of his bills today, okay. It said all. It's the ones that are in myself. Yes. Senator Heisman? What message did you
Okay.
receive?
Well, the clerk just handed me, and I had received it also earlier, SB 1097, but this is a bill that I think Senator Norman would want us to pass. It passed easily out of committee.
Okay.
I don't think there's any issues.
We'll follow the instructions that were given to Senator Heisman. Your motion?
Well, the instructions were to pass, but I would recommend that we go ahead and take a vote.
It's been moved and second.
So if I could present the bill?
Yes.
SB 1097 then. This is very, very specific to a small private school in Grundy. It's the Mountain Mission School Child Daycare Center, and it's asking for a licensure exemption update. So what happened apparently is that Mountain Mission School has had this exemption in code since 1950, and however, it was accidentally removed via legislation in 2020 when we transferred oversight from DSS to DOE. The exemption was reinstated last year in the 2022 budget and also codified by statute in the Code Commission. Mountain Mission School is a one-of-a-kind program, and it caters to children in need. And the vast majority of these students come from families that are living at least 200% below federal poverty level. And so it has been a wonderful support network for many students, some of whom come from across the country as well as internationally. The committee recommended for reporting on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill that is Senate Bill 1097 be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate it electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero, the bill will be reported. Thank you so much. Senator Hashmi?
Madam Chair, SB 1102 has a substitute in front of you, and I move the substitute.
It's moved and second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Substitute is agreed to.
Madam Chair, this particular bill requires each school board to develop a hazing prevention training program, and this will be going to a study to ensure that we are able to do that correctly. It reported out of committee on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 11, noes 2, 2 abstentions.
Ayes 11, noes 2, 2 abstention. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, SB 1191 is almost identical. I think it is identical to the Senator Chase bill establishing a education savings program. And the committee voted to pass by indefinitely on a vote of 3-1, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
I would suggest people match their vote.
Oh, that's fine.
Does pass by now, yes.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6, the bill will be passed by indefinitely. Senator Hashmi?
Madam Chair, SB 1257, as I mentioned earlier, has been incorporated into SB 1043, Senator McPike's bill. And am I correct, we need to take a vote on that? I move that we incorporate SB 1257 into SB 1043.
1043. All in favor of that motion, please, did I get a second? Okay. Okay, all in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is incorporated. Senator Hashmi, do you have
Madam Chair,
another?
SB 1268 is in the same position as the previous bill. We will be incorporating it into SB 1043, Senator McPike's bill, and I so move.
It's been moved and properly second that that bill will also be incorporated into 1043. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is incorporated. Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, SB 1290, patroned by Senator D-Step, is similar to the previous bills that we considered on education savings account. For those reasons that were articulated for Senator Chase's bill, the committee recommended that we pass by indefinitely, and I so move.
It's been moved and second that the bill be passed by indefinitely. That's Senate Bill 1290. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6, the bill will be passed by indefinitely. Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, SB 1300, patroned by Senator Deeds, has amendments in front of you, and I move the amendments.
It's been moved and properly second that the amendments be agreed to. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays have the same right. Thank you, Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, this bill directs the Board of Education to work in collaboration with our Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to develop a comprehensive trauma-informed care training program for our elementary and secondary school teachers for the purposes of ensuring that all of our teachers have the skills to address and identify signs of childhood trauma. The committee voted to recommend reporting with the amendments on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
Okay. There's a question? Yes,
My
Madam Chair,
apologies.
question for Senator Hashmi.
yes.
Is there any funding for this included? Is there a budget amendment? Was that discussed at all?
Madam Chair and Senator Peak,
Yes.
I do not recall whether we had discussion around funding, but this will be re-referred to Finance.
It will be figured out in finance. Yes.
So I recommend reporting with amendments and re-referral to Finance.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported and re-referred to finance with amendments. All in favor of that motion, please so designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Ayes 13, noes 2. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with a substitute. Senator Hashmi.
Our final bill, Madam Chair, is SB 1453, patroned by Senator McPike, and this requires each school board to develop a plan for the placement, care, and use of an automated external defibrillator in every public elementary and secondary school, and to place it also to develop the plan to place it in each school division. So under current law, the plan is optional, and there's no requirement for each school board to make such placement. This would make it a requirement and potentially save lives. Committee reported to recommend on a vote of 4-0, and I so move.
Madam Chair,
Senator Peak.
will this be referred to Finance as well?
This is to,
No.
Madam Chair and Senator Peak, this is just to develop a plan.
Yes. Senator Howell.
This is just, that's what I was going to say, she already said. It's to develop a plan.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Senator Peake's question has been answered. The motion is still on the floor. Did I get a
Madam
second?
Chair,
Senator Suderline.
speaking briefly to this, just so everyone's fully informed, my understanding of this is not to develop a plan, but to have one of these devices, my reading of the bill. And I'm happy to be corrected if I'm incorrect. But this bill stems actually from something that happened at Robinson High School, which you've heard me reference several times, where I went on a day, it was long ago enough that I was at indoor track practice when this happened. And the child that passed away did so with my sister and her teammates over at crew practice that was happening at the other side of the school. And so I'm very familiar with what's happening, not trying to hurt the bill, but want everyone to be fully informed so that if we do this, that's what we do.
Madam Chair,
Senator Peterson.
I'm looking at least the bill is introduced. I don't know if we had a substitute. So it just says, each local school board shall develop a plan for the placement and use of. Well, it just says develop a plan. I don't think-
Madam Chair, to
Senator
the Senate,
Sublime.
I believe if you continue reading on to line 15, and shall place an AED in every public elementary and secondary school in the local school division. So it's developing a plan to do it.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Senator Peterson.
I think that's actually, that's a legitimate comment. I mean, is there no requirement now, and we're making this requirement in our school system? Is that what we're talking about?
I think, I want to be clear. I think it's something that we ought to do, but it ought to go to finance so that we discuss how we're going to do it to make sure that, so that it actually happens.
Madam Chairman,
Senator Donovan.
as I understand the bill, including the references that are made, the requirement for a plan already existed, but having the actual defibrillator was not mandated by the state. It is an unfunded mandate for localities. There was conversation about how inexpensive these defibrillators had become, and that children in the school were all getting trained how to use them because that's part of health education now. And so I think it's a really good plan that we have defibrillators at every school, but I don't think there's any intent for the state to pay for it.
Madam Chairman.
Senator Howell.
I love the irony. I absolutely love the irony of this because people are always grumbling about the request for things to go to finance. We are happy to receive any bill that the committee would like to send to finance.
Senator Suline.
Madam Chair, so I think I've been very clear, very familiar with the situation where this happened, perhaps more than any other bill that I've ever seen. I support this strongly, but I'd like it to actually happen. And I think if it doesn't go to finance and we don't actually develop, if we don't develop a plan on our side, I understand what will happen in the other chamber. So I'd like to see this go to finance. I hope that we're able to develop a good plan there and then advance the bill forward. I just think that if we just pass the bill straight through without our folks that look at the Commonwealth's Treasury, I think that it will be simply viewed as an unfunded mandate on the other side, and that will be the end of the discussion that I would like to see actually come to fruition. So, and with that, I move that we recommend report and refer to finance.
Second. You heard a substitute motion that the bill be reported and be referred to finance, and finance chair did the second, and I'd be much obliged to do that because I think there's a part of tax relief money from which we could probably pay for these defibrillators.
There's other places too.
I like the place I just designated. All in favor of the substitute motion to report and re-refer to Senate Finance, please designate electronically, yea or nay on the electronic voting board.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, oh my God. Ayes 15, no zero. The substitute motion will be reported, that the bill be reported and be referred to finance passes on a 15-0 vote. Senator Hashmi, does that complete your report?
Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much for that good report, Senator Hashmi. Our next report will be coming from the Senate Subcommittee on Higher Education, chaired by Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first bill was Senate Bill 910, coming from Senator Newman. This bill dealt with the powers and duties of threat assessment teams, and the bill requires that each threat assessment team at each public institution of higher education do several things. First and foremost, to obtain criminal history record information and health records for each individual, notify the campus police department, local law enforcement, and the local attorney for the Commonwealth in writing within 24 hours, obtaining such criminal history records, information, and health records. And thirdly, to disclose any specific threat of violence posed by the individual as part of such notification. And there's additional information that's required for that threat assessment team to do. And the bill also requires the Secretary of Education and the Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security to convene a task force to determine best practices and develop model policies and procedures for all threat assessment teams at public institutions of higher education, and consider and make legislative recommendations on the appropriate qualifications and members of these threat assessment teams. And the, I'm sorry, there is a substitute.
There's a
And
motion.
all of this stuff is in the substitute, so I moved the substitute.
There's a motion on the substitute and a second. All in favor of that motion, please just say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Senator Locke.
All of this good stuff is in the substitute, and on a recommendation from the subcommittee on a vote of 5-0, I move that we report Senate Bill 910.
You heard the motion and the second that the bill be reported with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported with the substitute. Senator Locke.
Our next bill is Senate Bill 991, coming from Senator Peake. This bill dealt with immunization requirements at institutions of higher education. It declared that the General Assembly had the sole authority to impose immunization requirements on students that are enrolled in institutions of higher education. And it also expounded the scope of immunization requirements at these institutions. And on a recommendation of a vote of 3-2, the subcommittee recommends that this bill be passed by indefinitely, and I move that.
You've heard the motion? And the second that the bill be passed by indefinitely. All in favor of the motion, please designate your preference electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6. The bill will be passed by indefinitely. Senator Locke.
Senate Bill 1019, coming from Senator Edwards, requires the Department of Education to authorize Virginia-based nonprofit organization as a local education agency to provide schools for audits to earn an industry-recognized credential or dual college credit and a high school diploma on one or more diploma pathways set forth in the relevant Board of Education regulations. There is an amendment, and I would like to report the amendment.
There's a motion on an amendment and a second that it be adopted. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Ayes have it. Senator Locke.
And with that amendment, the subcommittee recommended on a vote of 5-0 that this be reported and be referred to finance.
It's been moved and probably second that the bill be reported.
Madam Chair,
Senator Peterson.
I hate to break up the flow, but what is the Virginia-based nonprofit that we're designating? Who is it?
Goodwill.
In Roanoke, they're doing a program in Northwest Roanoke, which everybody's very supportive of.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you for that clarification, Senator Edwards. Senator Locke. There is a motion
to report and re-refer to
And
finance.
a second, that the bill be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the amendment. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically your preference, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the amendment. Senator Locke.
Senate Bill 1030, Senator Norman has asked that be passed by for the day. And I move that it be passed by for the day.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by for the day. Mr. Clerk, do we need a voice vote?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, Senate Bill 1076, Senator Ruff's bill, and I would like to move the Senate Bill 1422, which is Senator Pillion's bill, be incorporated into Senate Bill 1076. I'm sorry. 1070 into Pillions, so I'll do Pillions last. Okay, never mind. I'll do Pillions last, okay.
Okay.
So
Senator Locke.
let me move to Senate Bill 1098, which is Senator Norman's, and he has asked that be passed by for the day.
Is this going to be passed by for the day?
Yes. And I move that it be passed by for the day.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded that the bill be passed by for the day. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Thank you. Senator Locke.
Got another pass by for the day. Senator Hashmi, Senate Bill 1110, she's also asked that be passed by for the day.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be passed by for the day. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Ayes have it. Thank you. Senator Locke.
Okay, Senate Bill 1130, also coming from Senator Hashmi, deals with the G3 program. It authorizes the Virginia Community College System in collaboration with SHEV and each participating comprehensive community college and baccalaureate public institution of higher education and the Virginia Office of Education Economics to select the degree and certificate programs eligible for financial assistance under G3 to address particular, to make recommendations on any high-demand fields that should be made eligible for financial assistance under the G3 program to the Governor and General Assembly. The bill also expands degree and certificate programs eligible for
Madam
financial
Chair.
assistance under G3 to include any associate degree program transferable for course credit at a baccalaureate institution of higher education.
Madam Chair.
Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, there is a substitute.
I keep forgetting the substitutes. Okay. I will move the substitute.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Ayes have it. Senator Locke.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
Senator Hashmi.
Madam Chair, may I speak to the substitute?
Yes, you may.
The substitute changes substantially the bill so that we are sending this now to, we're establishing a work group to evaluate the methods by which we might expand G3, including transfer degree programs and also granting greater flexibility in program selection.
Thank you, Senator Hashmi. With that clarification, Senator Locke, you have a motion?
I would like to move that the substitute be reported. We agreed on a vote of 4-0 that it be reported and re-referred to finance. And
You've heard the motion? And a second, that the bill be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. Senator Locke.
next bill is Senate Bill 1386, and there is a substitute, and I move the substitute.
It's been moved and second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right. Ayes have it. Senator Locke.
Okay, Senator Deeds' bill requires each public institution of higher education to create and maintain a form by which a student may apply for a dependency override. And there were a number of students who came to testify on this particular bill, and dependency override was defined in the bill as a documented determination by a financial aid administrator pursuant to relevant federal law that addresses tuition and financial aid eligibility determinations. And on a vote of 5-0, the subcommittee recommended reporting the substitute, and I move that recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be,
Madam Chair,
yes.
can I ask some questions?
Senator Peterson, yes.
I mean, as someone who has kids in college, what are we talking about here? Does this mean you can't put them as a dependent on your taxes? I mean, what does this mean?
Madam Chairman.
Senator Peterson, I'm sorry.
Those Cosgrove.
Senator Cosgrove?
If I may address Senator Peterson. Senator Deeds explained this pretty well in subcommittee. Basically, what this does is allows a person who is has a difficult home life, is not living at home anymore, basically to override that dependency so they can get the financial aid. May not be available if they're still considered a dependent on their parents' taxes.
Okay, further question.
Senator Peterson?
Now, as I understand, most aid is pursuant to federal law. And it seems to me if the parent is declaring the child as a dependent on their taxes, then there's still, I guess I'm seeing that there seems like there's some type of irreversible conflict here. If they're being declared as a dependent on the taxes, yet they're still allowed to basically be treated as they're independent for purposes of financial aid.
Madam Chairman,
Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you. It was our understanding from Senator Dees that if that dependency override was accomplished, that family would no longer be able to claim that child as a dependent.
Senator Peterson?
Final further question. Are the parents going to be informed that their child is quote unquote independent?
Senator Cosgrove?
I really don't know the answer to that.
Senator McPike, you have an answer?
So, Madam Chair, having some recent experience navigating with constituents about this and having parents that are still claiming the kid, but they're not actually supporting the kid. So it can actually work in the inverse, and the kid has to then file paperwork conflicting in the IRS, and it takes quite a bit of time to then sort of make sure that's not a dependency being claimed for their own taxes. And so it is kind of an important issue where parents, unfortunately, can continue to claim for multiple years into, I think, early 20s or so, typically, on claiming an education dependence. And so there is sometimes a conflict that I think this helps to try to resolve and give a pathway for a student.
Okay.
Senator Peterson?
And I'm reading this bill, and it looks like it's a form that's filled out by the student in which they make certain claims, such as, I've been abused, I'm estranged from my parents, I'm not able to contact my parents, my parent might be incarcerated. I don't know if the parents are even notified of this, or if they have an opportunity to weigh in and say, whoa, hold on, this kid lives with me every summer in school. It just seems like this is kind of a
I think we have somebody from
Maybe, all right.
State Board of Education who might be able to answer that question.
Madam Chair, Lee Andes from Chev. To answer the question to Senator Peterson, federal rules are very strict on who is responsible for paying for higher education, so there's a strong default towards using the parents' information. There are exceptions in extreme abandonment or in estrangement where the parents are not involved. This bill does not make it easier for a student to gain independent status. It just requires the colleges notify the student that there is that option, there's that possibility. So the colleges will then go through many of the steps you're referring to determine whether or not that student is properly independent or a dependent student. And it's a very narrow number of cases that would actually be approved because of a lot of the concerns you're raising.
Senator Peterson?
Okay, so
further
basically what
question?
you're telling me is this just establishes a form. The actual determination of dependency or not dependency it will be federal law.
It would be an institution to make the determination under federal law.
And so the parents would have an option to at least be notified and
In most cases, this is the cases, Madam Chair.
Please.
Those cases is cases of abandonment and estrangement, so. the
I
college-
understand that, but
Yes,
there's
sir.
often two sides to this.
Peterson.
I apologize, Madam Chair.
I'm not aware of there being a requirement that the parents be notified. But it is reviewed carefully.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm not sure that Senator Peterson is satisfied with that, but
Madam Chairman?
Madam Chair.
Senator Hashmi.
I don't know if I can satisfy Senator Peterson, but federal financial aid is very, very strictly defined, as we know, and the application process is quite convoluted. And so, as the representative from Chev just pointed out, this particular exception clause is very narrowly defined and is for very specific reasons, and the institution would have to work with the student to do that, because of course we don't want students who do have parents who can support and assist their child and are willing to do so to file for independent students, which then negates the parent's income and so forth, which is a critical part of financial aid determination. So this is a very narrow definition for students who can apply for this override.
Madam Chairman?
Senator Cosgrove?
I think in courtesy to Senator Deeds, we probably ought to take this by for the day so that he can come and talk to his bill. That's just a suggestion.
But I don't think this is in trouble. I don't think this is in trouble. It has to go to.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It wasn't on the finance list.
It is also designated on the report sheet. No. 1386 is on my list. Okay. The motion is to report the bill and re-refer to finance with the substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically. Nays have the same right.
Ayes 12, no 0, 3 abstentions.
Ayes 12, no 0, 3 abstentions. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. Senator Locke.
Okay, next bill is Senate Bill 1422 from Senator Pillion, and this will incorporate Senator Ruff's SB 1076, and I move that Senate Bill 1076 be incorporated into Senate Bill 1422.
It's been moved and properly second that the bill be incorporated, and that's going to require an electronic vote. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is incorporated. Senator Locke?
Okay, and what this does is it increases from $3,000 to $4,000, the maximum amount for which Chev will reimburse an eligible institution of higher education for non-credit workforce training programs for eligible students. And with that, the subcommittee recommended 5-0 reporting the substitute, and I move that.
But this, and it's going to go to finance.
Yeah. It wasn't on my list, but.
Well, Senate Bill 1422.
So, okay, so I move that Senate Bill 1422 as a substitute be reported and re-referred to finance.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically. Nays have the same right.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill will be reported and re-referred to Senate Finance with the substitute. Senator Locke.
Okay, Senate Bill 1429 from Senator Suderline deals with the classification of hybrid schools in the Virginia College Savings Plan. It provides that the Virginia College Savings Plans will consider any hybrid public-private elementary or secondary school to be a public elementary or secondary school in such a way that a beneficiary's account will qualify tuition program to be established and maintained by the plan and can use to cover up to $10,000 in expenses in any taxable year for tuition in connection with that beneficiary's enrollment or attendance at a hybrid school under the 529 plan. It says that it will be reported on a 2-2 vote and 1 abstention. So I will move that.
Move it which way?
It says to be reported.
It has been moved and second that the bill be reported. And it's not being asked to go to finance. It's not.
It's on the finance list.
Madam Chair, Finance.
It's on the finance list. It's,
Okay.
I don't like this.
It's the recommendation of the chair
It is on the finance list.
that the bill, yes. I was calling you the chair. That the bill be reported and be referred to Senate Finance. Is that the motion, Senator Locke?
I guess.
And I got a second. All in favor of that motion, please designate it yea or nay on the electronic voting board.
Ayes 9, no 6.
Ayes 9, no 6. The bill will be reported and be referred to Senate Finance. Senator Sudaline. Senator Locke, does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Okay, that concludes the report, and the hour is 9:08. You have plenty of time to go and catch up on the bills before we go to the floor. So with that, all minds and hearts are clear. The committee will rise.